and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 25 team selection video with me, Holly Shand. It's been a busy week. We've had double Gameweek 29 announced. We're starting now to think about chip strategy, which has influenced a change in my transfer plans for this week and my plans going forward. Let's get into it. Starting off with chip strategy then, and I'm sharing the updated schedule from Ben Crellin, and the chip strategy now for me hinges on whether Liverpool have a fixture in blank game week 28. Now, if Fulham beat Leeds in the FA Cup next Tuesday, then Fulham and Liverpool will then blank. But if Leeds win, then Fulham and Liverpool have a fixture. And in that case, I think I could probably get through blank game week 28 without using a chip. It does make bringing in Liverpool players for game week 25 a little bit more appealing than maybe it was a few days ago. So the thing that makes that even more appealing is the fact that Liverpool also double in game week 29. So I think they're one of three teams that have two double game weeks in the next 4 game weeks. The other teams are Brentford and Brighton, who unfortunately blanked this week, probably blank in 28 as well, but double in 27 and 29. So I think if Liverpool do have a fixture in blank game week 28, I'll try and get through this period with free transfers and may look at wildcarding as soon as game week 29 and may save it until a little bit later, because the other thing that we need to get through is blank game week 32, which is caused by the FA Cup semi-finals. So we'll see how all of that shakes out. But for me, I still think that once we've got that schedule by this time next week, we'll be able to plan a lot more effectively. And I could maybe dead end into that blank game week 32, wildcard in game week 33, and then play the bench boost in game week 34. The only challenge is that there's a midweek game week in there, so it is going to be a bit of a nightmare to navigate. But I guess my other strategy that I wanted to discuss, strategy 2, is, and this is if Liverpool don't have a fixture in blank game week 28, I'd be tempted to wildcard in either game week 26 or 27, really bring on board those Brighton and Brentford players for their 2 doubles, and then free hit in the blank game week 28. But then I do need the fixtures to fall nicely to navigate blank game week 32 and then the doubles in game week 34 that we don't know yet. We do have a little bit of an inkling looking at Ben's spreadsheet, but that's kind of where I'm at with it at the moment. Now, that strategy could involve a bench boost in game week 29, which is a double for 12 teams, but that comes straight after an international break. So I think the bench boost, whenever you play it, whether you use it in 29 or 34, if you go for one of the big doubles, isn't going to be ideal anyway, just because of the nature of having either an international break preceding it or a midweek game week preceding it. But we've just got to deal with the cards that we've been dealt here and hope for the best, really. In terms of my transfer plans for game week 25 then, I was already doing Luke Shaw out for James Tarkowski, rolling with 10 players. I feel like if I'm going to wildcard in game week 26 or 27, I don't need to worry as much about holding other players long term, so I am more open to selling Bruno Fernandes. And I've also got to factor in, if I'm bringing in Liverpool players and they do have a fixture in blank game week 28, that's going to help me navigate that as well. Now, there are 2 routes. I could get Salah in for a hit, and this is something I discussed on the transfer plans video. I could go Bruno Fernandes to Mo Salah, but it would mean that I would have to downgrade Riyad Mahrez. I could get Dwight McNeil in for the double game week, but I don't really like that because he's not a player that I want to own long term. I think what I'm more likely to do, which will just use my 2 free transfers, is sell Bruno Fernandes for Cody Gakpo, because I feel like he's got a lot more potential for minutes over Diogo Jota right now, and he is showing some form. Jota has got slightly better underlying numbers, but it's irrelevant if he's not on the pitch. And yeah, he did perform well when he came on against Newcastle United, but that was against 10 men, so that is a factor. So my transfers are going to be Shaw and Bruno Fernandes out, and I'll be bringing in Tarkowski and Gakpo. Team selection then, and Kepa gets the nod between the sticks, and we also see Tarkowski coming into my defence to sit alongside Gabriel and Kyle Walker. Hopefully he gets the start. I can't believe I've held him through this period and he's finally come good. In midfield, you'll notice the big two captain candidates are not in my team. I've got Odegaard in there along with Riyad Mahrez, Cody Gakpo and Andreas Pereira. And then in my front line, it's Haaland, Kane and Nketiah. Now, Nketiah's underlying numbers have been brilliant in recent game weeks. He seems to be dodging goals. He's turned into a bit of a Darwin Núñez, but hopefully he can actually live up to the potential that the XG numbers are giving him. On the bench, I've got Danny Ward, and I'm also holding those blank game week assets, Kieran Trippier, Marcus Rashford and Sven Botman, who could come in handy if I decide to use free transfers to navigate that blank game week 28. But the big decision is on captaincy. Now, I guess I've only really got two options to consider, three if you include Haaland, but I don't want to captain a single game week player in a double game week, especially when Haaland's away from home. If he was at home to Bournemouth, it'd be a different story, but away, I don't think that's strong a fixture. So I'm choosing between Odegaard and Nketiah. Odegaard is the consistent performer, and Nketiah is the one that's more explosive, but I just feel like Odegaard's probably a safer route with the armband. It is a little bit of a compromise. Obviously, I'd love to have Salah or Saka, but hopefully I can get away with Odegaard. He hasn't got the penalties, but, you know, only Haaland has got more double-digit hauls than Odegaard this season. He is the playmaker. He's involved in so much of Arsenal's play. He's got a high shot volume as well, so hopefully that translates to points, and he can accumulate points quicker than Nketiah because he's a midfielder rather than a forward. I hope you found this one useful then. As always, I try and answer all of your comments within 24 hours of the video going live, so do drop them down below. Just a quick update that my press conference live stream tomorrow on Friday is coming at 12 o'clock rather than 1 o'clock due to some childcare issues, but hopefully you can catch me at that earlier time. Link is in the description to hit that notify button. Good luck for FPL Game Week 25.